Hello everybody, today we're going to do our FCE class, alright? So remember from last week we did determiners and pronouns, right? So we have any, so on and so forth, few, less, right? For countable and uncountables. We will do one revision exercise on page 173 on the very top one, okay? And then after that we are going to study the new topics for determiners and pronouns, alright? So let's move on forward to the top part of 173, okay? Page 173. We are going to revise what we learned last time, okay? And on the whiteboard, I wrote it down over here. We will do the 10 questions together, okay? And then the remaining 6, can you please do them by yourself? I will give you around a minute or 2 to do them, all right? And then I will say the answers with you. All right, so, sorry, 173, right? Sorry, wrong page. All right, 173, it should look like this one, okay? With the man over there. All right, so just underline or circle the words, okay? You can underline or circle them. Either one is fine. An example has been done for you, right? Very few people. Few because people is countable, right? So if you ever get confused, you can go back to page, what page was it? I think it was 170, right? Or 160. Oh, it's this one, 172, so just one page before, right? That is the exercise we did last week. So you can refer to that. So number 1 is few because the noun is people. And we can count people, right? We can count them. All right. Now let's go to the next one. There are little, too many, or much cars on the road. Right, can we count cars? Right, so it's too many, right? Too many. All right, much is for uncountable. For example, money, right? Too much money, right? Or too much sugar, okay? Next one, number 3. There's a little, a few, much light coming through that window, okay? So we're talking about light. Can we count the amount of light? See, even amount of light we cannot count, right? We can only say it's very bright, it's very dim, right? So can we count light? What do you think? Is it a little, a few, or much? Right, a little, uncountable, right? So again, just refer to the table on 172 if you get confused, right? All right, let's move on. Number 4. We've had much, very little, or a lot of problems with the car. Now, mind you, problems with an S. Sometimes when we are not sure which one to use, countable or uncountable, try to look at the form of the noun. So problems, right? A lot of, right? A lot of problems. So what if we're talking about not a lot of problems and it's countable, right? So what should we use for not a lot? A few, right? A few. All right, next one, number 5. Did you learn many, much, or a few English on your summer course? Can we count English, the subject or the language? Can we count it? No, right? It's an uncountable unit. English is a language, right? We can count the languages, but we can't count the language itself. So it should be, what do you think? Did you learn many English? No, right? Because it's uncountable, so it should be much. So we're asking how much did they learn, okay? If you get confused, you can think about how much, all right? How much English did you learn on your summer course, all right? All right, number 6. He was late because he had little, he had few, he had a lot of. Now, you can take a look at the way they form the sentence, right? Had little is wrong. It should be had a little, right? But a little here doesn't work, okay? So what do you think? A lot of, right? A lot of work to do, a lot of. In this case, if it was less, right? We can say a little work, okay? But in this case, because there's an here, so we choose a lot of, okay? All right, moving on, number 7. Number 7, I'm afraid I haven't got much, many, a little information about that matter. What do you think works? Right, it should be much, right? Much information. We can count the pieces of information, but the information itself we cannot count, right? So it's much. We can talk about the amount, right? So just the amount, but not how many exactly, right? All right, next one, number 8. Okay, number 8. Only a few, a lot of, or a little people knew it was my birthday. We're saying only, right? So only usually means a very small amount, right? So should it be only a little people or only a few? Think of people. Are they countable? Yes, so it should be only a few. A few, F-E-W. All right, so also, a lot of people get confused with few and less, right? All right, next one, number 9. There are a little, much, or a few sandwiches left on the table. So we're talking about something that is left, right? So in the start, we will have a lot of sandwiches, and then at the end, we will have, how can we count sandwiches? Yes, we can, right? So a few. A few. All right, last one for this part. John's schoolwork leaves lots of, many, or few room for improvement. John's schoolwork leaves, okay, that means his work can be improved a little bit more or a lot more, okay? So which should it be? Leaves lots of, okay? Leaves lots of. Uncountable, right? Lots of. You can say a lot of, but in this case, lots of works well. Okay, so number 11 to 16, I'll give you roughly just a minute and a half. Very quickly, just go through them. All right, numbers 11 to 16. All right, you have a minute and a half. Okay, all right. So let's check your answers for 11 to 16, okay? So 11, did you spend much money on this blouse, okay? Money, right? Uncountable. Number 12, there are only a few days left before the holidays. So we're talking about days, right? We can count them and left, so a little bit, okay? Number 13, I don't like many of Woody Allen's films, okay? Many, because you can count them, right? 14, Sally ate too much cake and now she feels sick. Much, okay? We're talking about the amount of cake, right? We can say a slice, okay? The amount, but in this case, cake, right? The parts of the cake that she ate. We can't count them, right? So much. Number 15, there are a few flowers in the garden. We can say a lot, right? But it needs of, the word of, a lot of flowers. But in this case, it's not there, so a few. Number 16, I only have a few books, but I'd like to have more. All right? We can say a lot of books, but the thing is, the second part of the sentence says, I'd like to have more, okay? All right, so let's move on forward. We have some, any, and no, okay? So in this part of the your book, refer to the blue table, right? So you have positive, interrogative, negative, and then all three of them together. And what this table is telling you is, the different parts of some, any, and no. What does that mean is we can put something in between or in front of or behind the words to make different parts of speech, right? And for example, in the positive form, we have we have some and any, right? Just by itself, some and any, right? And then in the interrogative, we have any, right? Interrogative means asking, right? So that means in questions, when we want to ask something, we usually use the word any, okay? And then negative, right? Negative is no or not any, okay? No or not any. And then in all of them, the one that is applied to all of them is the word every, okay? Every. Now let's move on to the pronouns. Pronouns, all right? So remember, pronouns are, what are pronouns? Right, pronouns are the subjects of the sentence, right? You can see for the positive, we have somebody, someone, anyone, and anybody. You can see that in the adjective, it uses some and any, right? And then for the pronouns, you put one, someone, somebody, you put body, anyone, right? And anybody, right? So it's a similar kind of structure. You put one or body, right, in front of the word. Someone, somebody, anyone, anybody, okay? And then we have the interrogative, right? Interrogative or interrogative, right? This means asking question. Again, similar to the positive form of the any, right? We have anyone or anybody as well. So in questions, we use anyone or anybody, not somebody or someone, right? Okay? All right, so let's move on. Negative, right? That means negation. So no or not or any in the adjectives. In the pronoun form, we have no one, right? Similar as someone or anyone. We have no one. We have not anyone, right? So not anyone. Nobody or not anybody. All right? Easy? So think of the negative as using any and no together, right? So not anyone, no one. Not anybody, nobody. Okay? All right, and then we have adverbs. Of course, we have adverbs, right, for the positive. Adverbs, right? So we're talking about things or places. Adverbs are used to describe verbs, right? Okay, so let's move on. Positive, we have for things. Something or anything. Again, something or anything, right? So we put the word thing in front. And then for places, we have somewhere and some anywhere, right? So somewhere, anywhere, the word where, thing and where you put in front, right? And then of course for interrogative, we already learned we only use the word any, right? So any in adjective, anyone, anybody in pronouns, and in adverbs, anything and anywhere. So simple, right? They use things and wheres, okay? For the negative, so nothing, right? So not anything, nothing. And nowhere is not anywhere, okay? And then for the whole thing, the one that is used in positive, interrogative, and negative sentences is every, right? So we have every in the adjective, right? And then we have everybody, so all the people, right? In the pronoun or everyone. So very similar. We use somebody, anybody, nobody, right? Everybody, right? And then in the adverb part, again similar. We use things and places. So anything, it means all. Oh, sorry. Everything means all the things, and everywhere means in all places, all of the places, right? Everywhere. All right. Okay, so just quickly go through the table. Okay. Refer to your book, please. If I need to write something down, I'll write it down here in the space. I'll let you know when I do that, so you can look into your at your screen. For the meantime, let's read together, okay? Some is used before countable or uncountable nouns, okay? The examples are, I'll buy some apples. So some apples, we can count the apples, right? But we don't know how much we're going to buy, so you say some apples. He gave me some money. Maybe you don't want to say how much, uncountable, right? You don't want to tell them how much he gave you, so you say some money, okay? This is in the positive, okay? Positive, this is an adjective. Now, some in its compounds. Compounds means you put two words together or many words together, okay? Somebody or something, etc. Those are compounds, okay? Are normally used in positive sentences. They're also used in questions when we want to make an offer, a request, or when we expect a positive answer. So, even if interrogative, right, they only say anyone or anybody, actually we can use somebody or someone as well when we want a positive answer, okay? What does positive answer mean? Let's look at the example. there's someone at the door. Okay? There's someone at the door, right? And then for the question, right? Would you like something to eat? Would you like something to eat? Okay? And then you expect them to say, yes, I would like to have maybe a piece of donut, right? Who knows? And then could I have something to drink? You're requesting, right? So maybe you go to your friend's house, they forgot to give you some water. And so you want to ask them, right? And you think they will say yes. So you say, could I have something to eat? Okay? If you say anything, right? It kind of means like they're not offering you anything on purpose, right? So something. And then we have, is there someone waiting for me? Right? You expect that there is someone waiting for you. So is there someone waiting for me? Yes, there is, right? But is there anyone waiting for me? This is you were asking in general, right? Is there anyone waiting for me, right? Is there someone waiting for me? Is you're expecting? Is there anyone waiting for me? Is just asking question. You're not sure if someone is, right? All right, and then we have any, right? Any is used before countable and uncountable nouns. Same thing, countable and uncountable. And then we have, is there any sugar, right? This is the question, interrogative. Is there any sugar? So we don't know for sure if there is or there is not, right? Let's move on forward. Any and its compound, anyone or anything, etc. are normally used in questions, okay, in questions. Whereas some is used in positive sentences and also in questions when we are expecting something, requesting something, or offering something, or expecting a positive answer, right? In contrast, we use any for a general question. So just a question you might want to ask without expecting anything, right? For example, is there anyone there? Right? You're not sure, you don't know, you're not expecting anyone there, right? So you say, is there anyone here or anyone there? They are also used in positive sentences, meaning it doesn't matter how, what, which, when, or who, or where, all right? The examples are, you can go anywhere you want. It doesn't matter, okay? When you use somewhere, right, you can go, or the sentence is wrong, but let me just try to put somewhere in that sentence. You can go somewhere you want, okay? It's wrong, right? Because somewhere means a specific sets of place, right? And anywhere means anywhere, right? So any place that you want, it doesn't matter. Any and its compounds can be used after a positive sentence as well. So if anything is broken, I will hold you responsible, okay? If anything is broken. So any part of the thing that you broke, right? Or you would broke, right? So any part, it doesn't matter which part, as long as you broke it, right? You are responsible to fix it. All right? And then similar for no and not any, okay? So this is just a negative part of any, all right? So we'll not go through that because it's quite easy. Unless one part, we can also use hardly, never, without, seldom, or rarely, etc. Okay? You can use it with those words. So never go anywhere alone at night. Instead of not go anywhere alone at night, right? Never go. Not ever, okay? And then of course we talked about every, right? Every. Very simple, right? So every worker in the factory has been well trained. So every, right? And then has, that means before they were trained, right? We've bought everything we need, right? Everything, okay? So all the things that we need, all right? All right, so it's quite simple, right? But let's try to do it in practice because it might be a little tricky once we've started practicing how to use these determiners, right? Some, any, or no, or even every. So I'll put a bracket here that says every, okay? And this is in the whole sense, okay? Hope you understand what that means, all right? All right, so now let's move on to page 174, okay? So page 174 over here, we have 20 questions. I'll just do around 10 with you, and you can do the 10 as a homework thing or a homework exercise, all right? I will skip through that. I will not let you do it in class. Please do it at home if you have, or when you have the time, all right? So underline the correct items, okay? So let's go through number 1. Let's try to analyze the example given to us. He didn't say anything or nothing to the police, right? Why can't we use nothing? Because we have a negative already, right? We have the word didn't, did not, okay? So if we say he did not say nothing, that means he said something, right? And we oftenly don't use double negatives in these types of sentences, all right? Unless you're speaking, right? You're speaking to a friend, you're trying to be using colloquials, right? Sounding cool maybe. But in formal English and in writing formal English, please don't use double negatives, right? So nothing and didn't, those are double negatives. Instead, we will use anything. He did not say anything to the police. Right? So this is the example given to you. Alright, so let's move on forward, right? Number 2, no one or anyone was at home when I called. Anyone was at home when I called. Does that make sense? No, right? This is not a question. It's not a question. So we're assuming that he's stating something. What is he stating? No one, right? So no one. Let me change my pen to the blue one. The red one's running out of ink. Alright, so no one was at home when I called, alright? Let's move on forward. Number 3, there was hardly no one at the party. There was hardly no one. Or anyone. What do you think? Hardly. Alright, so if you go back to page 173, look at the bullet point for no, not, or any, right? Right? So we have hardly, right? Hardly. So this is a negative already. Hardly is a negative word. So we cannot use a double negative with no one, right? We need to use any, right? Any and its compounds are used with negative words. Hardly, never, without, seldom, rarely. So this should be anyone. Good, anyone. Hardly anyone. Because the point is, hardly is a negative. If you say hardly no one, that means someone, right? Alright. Number 4, I need any more milk or some more milk. Right? What do you think? Some more, right? Some more milk. Continue to number 5, alright? I can't find my sister nowhere. I can't find my sister anywhere. Alright, so if we say I can't find my sister nowhere, it's wrong because of the double negatives, right? I cannot and not anywhere, right? So not and not, cannot use that. Another point is the meaning, right? I can't find my sister anywhere. I cannot find my sister in all the places that I'm trying to look at. It makes sense. But if you say I can't find my sister in not any of the place that I'm trying to look at, right? It doesn't make sense. So it should be anywhere. Anywhere. So when you do get confused when you're trying to answer questions, try to make the sentence larger, okay? Try to imagine the situation and then process that, see if it's correct or not. Alright, number 6, are you going nowhere for your holiday? Are you going anywhere for your holiday? What are we expecting here? Alright? Are we expecting anything? No, right? We're not expecting anything, so that's why somewhere was not here. Now, nowhere or anywhere, what do you think is the correct answer? Are you going nowhere for your holiday? Are you going anywhere for your holiday? Right, this is a general question, right? So it's normal to use anywhere, alright? If you say, are you going nowhere for your holiday, right? That means you're kind of expecting that she's going nowhere or he is going nowhere. And so you don't need to ask the question, there is no point, right? But if it's a general question, we use any, right? And place is where, so anywhere. Alright, number 7, John goes to sleep at 10 o'clock any evening. Any evening means any evening he wishes, or he will go to sleep at 10 p.m. Is that the point of the sentence? No, right? It should be every evening, alright? E-V-E-R-Y, okay? Be careful of how you spell it. Number 8, call round anytime you like, call round sometime you like. So you're telling someone that they can call you at whatever time that they want to call, right? That is any, okay? At any time you want, whatever time you want, any. Call around means give me a call, okay? Call around. Number 9, he needs any time to work out the answer. He needs some time to work out the answer. This is similar to number 4, right? So it should be sometime, right? Sometime, right? very specific. You're expecting someone to give you some time. If it's any, then it could be the time tomorrow, the time in 10 years, right? So you need the time right now, or the time in the near future, right, to figure out the answer. So some time. All right, the last one I'm going to do with you, number 10. Anybody or nobody told me you were leaving. All right. Nobody told me you were leaving. Can someone try to analyze why? All right, just try to think, or you can say your answers out loud. I'll give you 10 seconds, right? Right, it's nobody told me you were leaving. If it's anybody told me you were leaving, then that the meaning there is very different, right? Anybody told me you were leaving. That sounds like a question almost. So did anyone or anybody tell me you were leaving, right? It should be nobody told me you were leaving, okay? We're talking about the situation here of him not knowing or her not knowing, right? So nobody told me you were leaving. All right? All right, so for 11 to 20, please do this exercise if you can quickly after watching this whole lesson, all right? So you can try to do it by yourself, use some more practice. And refer to the 10 questions we answered together and also to the table that we just learned on page 173 to correct your answers, okay? Moving on, let me just move this over here. All right, so moving on, part 10, right? So same page, part 10. We have 7 questions to do together, right? 7 questions. So actually 6 questions, right? So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, okay? And then the rest from 8 to 14, again, same thing as this one, right? So technically it's your homework, so do it after the class ends, all right? I want you to do some exercise by yourselves. All right, so for part 10, fill in some, any, no, or every, or their compounds. Compounds means these words put together with different parts of speech, right? So we have the adjective, we have the adverb, right? And we also have the, what's the other one? Adjective, adverb, and the pronouns, right? So anybody, somebody, nobody, right? Everybody, for example, okay? So let's look at the example. Blank knows that the sky is blue, but few people know why. So is it somebody knows the sky is blue? Anybody knows the sky is blue? Nobody knows the sky is blue, or everybody knows the sky is blue. What do you think? Right, everybody, right? Everybody knows the sky is blue. Or you can say everyone knows, okay? So either is fine. So let's say everyone or everybody knows the sky is blue. So all the people, right? Everyone means all of the people, or all the people. All right? Oh, sorry. This is the example, right? So now let's go to number 2, right? Number 2. If you have blank questions, I'll be in my office. So someone is offering someone, right? Someone is trying to offer help. If you have what questions? Look at page 173 if you have some troubles, right? For number 2. Let's try to look at that. If you have blank questions, I'll be in my office. What do you think? Can someone shout out the answers and maybe explain why? Right, any, right? If you have any questions, you can come to my office and ask them, okay? Oop, no more ink. Any, right? Any. Number 3, blank wanted to miss the match, so blank arrived early. So missing the match, right? You might miss the match if you don't arrive early, so that's the situation there. So it should be nobody or no one has a space in between, okay? And then the second part of the blank, so everybody or everyone, right? Or everyone arrived early. All right, so let's go up here, everyone. Let's go up here. We have 4, 5, 6, and 7, okay? And then again, I told you from 8 to 14 you do by yourself. All right, so the teacher asked if blank knew the answer to her question. So she is saying, right? She's asking a question to her students, and she is waiting for whoever can answer a question. Whoever means whoever of the students is okay as long as someone answers her question. So that should be any, right? Any. Now, students are people, right? So any one or anybody. I'll put the body in bracket. That means you can change one or body, right? They're interchangeable. You can change them. All right, number 5. Number 5. Would you like blank cheese or maybe blank sweet? We are offering, right? We are offering. We're not. We are offering, right? What do you think we're offering? Would you like? Can you check out page 173 if you get confused? Offering some cheese, right? Would you like some cheese? Or something, right? We're asking about a food that is sweet. Maybe they would like some, right? So something sweet. All right. Number 6. Let's move on. Have you seen Jim blank? So we're talking about seeing Jim somewhere, right? Have you seen Jim in a place? So something where, right? And we are asking for a specific place. Have you seen Jim in the classroom? Yes, I saw him in the classroom. I see him in the classroom every day. So not some, right? Not an answer we're expecting, okay? So it should be anywhere. Wherever he is, have you seen him right now, right? Anywhere. And then the second part, right? I've been looking blank for him. I've been looking at all the places for him. So it's all the places, right? Every. And then places where? Everywhere. So try to think of it as almost like a math equation, right? We're thinking about place, so place equals where. We're thinking about going to all the places, all equals every, right? So think of it as a math equation and then put them together, everywhere. All right? Lastly, we have number 7. If you have blank spare time, there's blank I want to talk to you about. So this one, right? If you have blank spare time, if, the word if here, right, is not very specific, not when, okay? When you do have this, okay? So if you have, we're talking about time, right? Having time. So some works, right? We're asking a question, or also any in this case. So any and some, in most cases, are interchangeable. You have to look at the context first, okay? Remember we talked about context in one of the workbooks, right? And then the second part of the sentence is, what do you think? There's blank I want to talk to you about. So a topic, and a topic is a thing to talk about, right? So what should we write? Can we say, since we wrote down any time, there's anything I want to talk to you about? No, right? Very quite specific. So there is something. So some, very specific, and thing, okay? Something I want to talk to you about. All right? Check your answers, please. Number 2 is any. Number 3 is nobody, no or no one, everybody or everyone. And then number 4 is anyone or anybody. Number 5, some, and then the second part is something. Number 6 is anywhere, and then everywhere. Number 7 is some or any, and then the next part is something. Okay? Be careful, it's one word, okay? One word. Alright? Okay, so again, for number 8 to 14, go home and do it, or right after this class, okay? So you can retain the memory or the new information in your memory. Alright, and then part 11, okay? Part 11, we have whoever, whatever, whichever, whenever, wherever, or however. So these, whoever, whatever, the words with ever at the end, we call these compound, okay? It usually has the same meaning, okay? To the word any, okay? Any. So I can go anywhere I want to on my holiday, right? I can go wherever I want to on my holiday. Whoever, right? Whoever. I can play with whoever I want as long as they are my friends, okay? I can play with anyone I want as long as they are my friends, okay? So any and whoever and who, something, or wherever, right? So any and ever, they are quite similar, right? So let's try to read the box or the rectangle over here, right? Over here on page 174. So same page before part 11. Ever can be added to certain question words. Okay, those are the question words are who, what, which, when, where, or how. To mean any, okay? This is what I mean by they are interchangeable or they are similar in meaning. So it all means any, okay? These words are whoever, anyone, who, right? I play with, I eat with, I talk with. Whatever. Whatever is anything that I use to eat, that I read, right? So whatever book I want. Whichever means any of. So my mom will bring home a lot of groceries, maybe a lot of fruit, banana, pineapple, apple, and oranges. And my mom will ask me, right? Or your mom will ask you, what fruit do you want to eat? And you can say, whichever is okay. That means any of the fruit that your mom bring home is okay. Whenever is any time, okay? When do you want to go to bed tonight? Whenever is okay. Maybe 9 o'clock is okay, 8 o'clock is alright. Wherever is any place and however is in any way, okay? So, for example, how do you like to drink your chocolate milk? Do you like it hot or do you like it cold? And then you say, both is okay. So you can say, however is okay, right? However you think is okay, I'm fine with it. Alright? Okay, so for number 1, the example they gave you is whatever, right? So I'm not sure how to advise you. Okay, the advise here is ending with SE, right? So this is a verb, okay? I'm not sure how to advise you. I suggest you do whatever you think is best. So why we use whatever here? Can you explain? Someone at home, can they explain? Quickly, 10 seconds. Explain how. Right. So anything, do anything that you think is correct, right? So when you do anything, you do whatever, right? You think is best for you. Do whatever you think is correct, right? Nowadays, a lot of people think whatever means, it doesn't matter, right? It's almost the same case, but whatever here actually means anything that you can do, anything that you can have, right? So anything, okay? Whatever. Number 2, mom decides to put the washing out. It always starts raining. So, blank, mom decides to put the washing out. This whole sentence is one unit. This is talking about what is it talking about? Is it talking about a time, a thing, a place, how, or someone? It's a time, right? So when mom decides to put the washing out, it always starts raining. Washing means the laundry, the clothes that she washes, right? So it's a very ironic sentence. After she washes her clothes and she wants to dry them out, it starts raining. So it's whenever. We're talking about a time, right? So whenever. So anytime she does her laundry, it starts raining before she can dry them, okay? So this is what that means. All right, moving on. Number 3. I'll give you some buffer, okay, in between so you can think about them. So number 3, blank. Sorry, my pen is missing. Blank has borrowed it. Kindly return it immediately. Okay? So think of the situation. Someone's pen is missing, or your pen is missing. You lent it to someone. Okay? You lent it to someone. Okay? That means they borrowed it from you. You lent it to them. And then you want them to kindly return it. Kindly means please, okay? Kindly means please. So please return it immediately. So what do you think the answer is for that is? My pen is missing. Blank has borrowed it. Return it kindly. So they were talking about a person, right? So who? Whoever borrowed it. Whoever borrowed it. Okay? So anyone who borrowed it, can you please return it? Okay, whoever, anyone. All right. So let me try to analyze this for you. So here we have what, right? So thing, right? So thing. So we have anything you think is best. Do anything you think is best. Then we have when, right? When. For number 2, right? So whenever mom decides to put the washing out, it starts raining. So when, right? So we're talking about time. So what should that be? So it should be any time that. Okay? So this one there's a space here, okay? Any time that, not any time as one word, okay? There are some differences in meaning, okay? And then whoever. So my pen is missing. Whoever has borrowed it, kindly return it, please. So whoever means anyone. Alright? Anyone who borrowed it, please return it, right? Alright, let's move on forward. So this is how we analyze, right? So we know how to use it. So this is called backlogging, okay? So try to think of it backwards, okay? Or you can also think about forwards, okay? Alright, number 4. The teacher asked if blank knew the answer to... Sorry, different part, right? Number 4. Welcome, come in and sit down. Blank where you can find an empty seat. See, come and sit down, blank, you can find an empty seat. So sit down in a place, right? So place is where. So sit wherever you can find an empty seat, wherever. Alright, number 5, okay? Red and green both look good on you. Blank color you choose, I'm sure it will suit you. So we're talking about a choice, right? So choice, right? Any of. So any of the colors you choose is okay. So it's whichever color you choose. Right? Whichever. Whichever color you choose, it's alright. You look good in both. Or either color. So either, right? Having a choice. Whichever. Alright, number 6. The interview is informal. So you can dress blank you want. You can dress whatever you want, okay? So we are talking about in a way, right? You can dress in any way that you want. So in any way is how. So how ever, okay? Let me just write that down. In any way. However, okay? In any way. Moving on, number 7. Number 7, you know where to find me. Come round blank you want. And we'll talk over your problem. So come round, right? Remember this come round? So it's similar as call round. Call round anytime you like, right? From part 9, number 8 on the top part of this page, right? Look at that. Call round anytime you like. So very similar to this one, anytime, right? So it should be whenever you want, okay? Come around whenever you want, or come round. That means visit me whenever you want. Number 8. Blank wins the election is sure to be the best candidate. So we're talking about a person, right? Talking about a person, so very easy. Whoever. Right? Whoever wins the election. Alright, number 9. You must get some advice. Okay, so here the advice is CE. This is the noun, okay? The piece of advice, not the verb. And you must get the advice about the career you wish to follow so that blank you choose, you won't regret it. Again, we're talking about a choice, okay? So when we have a choice, it is which one you will choose, right? So whichever. Any of. Okay, so whichever means any of. Alright, and then lastly for number 10, there are 2 different routes or routes. Routes or routes means way, okay? For number 10, you can underline and write way. From here to Manchester, why not take blank is the shortest to save time? So again, we're talking about choices, right? Why not choose the one that is shorter to save time? So when we have choices, we're choosing which one, right? So which one, whichever, okay? So again, if you don't know how to answer that question, try to make the situation into something you can imagine, right? And then ask the questions. So which way would I like to choose? So when we have the word which, talking about choices, so it's whichever, okay? Alright, so if you need time to write down the notes, right, that I wrote down on the side, please write them down now. I'll give you around 15 seconds. You can write down the notes, okay? Alright. Alright, so let's move on to the next part, okay? Page 175. Alright, 175. We have two new subtopics, okay? Else and other structures, okay? So the else structure, alright? So how do we use the else structure? So we use else, right, when we want to talk about something more, okay? What else can you say about this painting, right? What else, alright? Or, for example, we all of us go out to a party, right? And we have so much fun. We want to go somewhere else, but we don't know. So a place, okay? Place we use where. Same as ever, okay? But we change it with else. So where else can we go for us to have some more fun or to party, okay? Where else, okay? Or who else, what else, right? Similar to ever. And then we also have the structures of apostrophe, right? Apostrophe S. So apostrophe S, right? So for example, don't use my laptop. I am downloading something important, right? Don't use my laptop. I'm downloading something important. Why don't you use someone else's? Okay, so someone else's, right? Just a point to make. No need to write down, or you can write down if you want a note, right? Someone else's computer. Okay. So here we make use of the some, right, and one. So this is talking about people, and then here we have the else structure with the apostrophe. So someone else's what? Someone else's thing, right? Computer, or someone else's person, someone else's sister. Okay. So this is a structure that you can note down, right? It's very useful. And then we also have not exactly an ultimatum, right? But this is what we call a otherwise situation. Otherwise, right? So we also have or else, right? Or else. We usually use this to I would say a scare tactic, right? So a scare strategy to make someone do something. For example, why don't you eat your breakfast? Right? Otherwise, you can say otherwise you might get super hungry when you go to school. Or else you will be hungry when you go to school. Alright? So you're trying to make them do something, trying to make them eat breakfast. You can say or else or otherwise. So think of or else means otherwise, okay? Alright, so we have that table there to help us, okay? So now let's try to answer the 5 questions. You have 10 questions, but I want you to do the remaining at home, right? So you can practice by yourself. Because the next few lessons we will not do this again. I want you to do some self-practice, alright? So for number 1, we have the example. You must study for the test or else you won't do well. So we have a consequence, right? Something that might happen. So we want you to do something, right? So or else. In other words, otherwise, right? So I'll just write this down here so you won't get confused with the meaning. Or else can mean otherwise, okay? Otherwise you won't do well. Number 2, we always go to this restaurant. Okay, so we always go to this restaurant. Maybe someone is tired of it, right? So can't we go blank? Right? We need to use the word else. So restaurant is a place, right? So where? And then you're asking the question, right? So we can put else here. Right? Right? Now pay attention to the place, right? We're talking about restaurant wanting to eat somewhere else, right? So it's somewhere. Or you can also say anywhere else, right? Maybe you have a specific question in mind. Maybe you love to eat fast food restaurants, right? You always eat at McDonald's. Now you want to eat at KFC, but you don't want to say KFC, so you ask everyone else. Where else can we eat? Somewhere else can we eat, right? Or anywhere else, right? Depends on the situation. If you're expecting something, or if you don't mind eating anywhere, right? Of all the places. Alright, number three. She wasn't in the bank when they robbed it. You'd better ask. talking about a person, right? So she wasn't. You have to ask another person. So another person is, what do you think? One, right? You have to ask someone, right? Or anyone. Or you can say somebody. Or anybody. And then of course, else, because it's an else structure. Alright? So here the someone or anyone or somebody or anybody else means another person that could be there, right? So very specific. Alright, number 4. You have to speak to Mary, right? And then similar. Can make such an important decision. So you have to speak to Mary. Very specific. You can only speak to Mary about this. And then the sentence goes on with can make such an important decision. So we're talking about a person, right? So we're saying one or body, right? And then of course we have the else structure. Now we have to think of what to write in front, right? The compounds. Anyone can make such a decision. Is that true? Anybody? That's why you have to speak to one person only? No, right? Not anybody. Everybody? Somebody? No. It should be no one or nobody, right? No one or nobody. No one or nobody else except for Mary can make such an important decision. So you can try to switch the parts of the sentence, right? So I always tell you to switch things up. See if the meaning is still the same. If it's still the same, then it's the correct answer. If it's not, then it's probably wrong, alright? Okay, number 5. I've only bought 2 tickets for the concert as I wasn't sure if blank would want to go. Alright? Again, else structure. So we can assume that the end of the phrase, there's an else somewhere there, right? So let's put it at the end, okay? Alright? And then we have people. I've only bought 2 tickets in the concert. I wasn't sure if blank would want to go. Who would want to go? Some people, right? So what should be in the front, right? It should be body or one, okay? So body or one. Alright? So he's not sure if somebody, are we expecting a very specific type of person or a friend of his? Or everybody, all of the people? That's why he only bought 2 tickets? No, right? It should be anybody or anyone. Right? So this means, right, out of all of his friends, he wasn't expecting anyone. Just any of his friends. Whichever of his friends want to join, they can join him. So anybody or anyone else. Okay? Again, so this structure is just mimicking the whichever, whoever, right? Except we're using else, okay? And the else here has a different kind of meaning, a different kind of a distinct meaning from ever, alright? And usually the else, right? You can see or else, separate, 2 words, right? But it's 1 unit. Somewhere else, right? Somewhere has its own meaning, else has its own meaning. When you put together, it's 1 unit. Another place, okay? Another. Or any other. So else can mean other, okay? Other, somewhere else, other place, alright? Any other, okay? Alright, so now let's go to the other structure, okay? Other structure. Alright, so we have else, and remember when I said else can mean other, we also have a structure for other itself, okay? Other, alright? So on part 13, we're going to do the exercise for other. Again, this has 10 questions. The last 5 you might want to do it at home, right? So, other, we have the others with an S, optional, right? That means everyone else, the rest, okay? So out of, for example, we have 10 people, right? And 5 want to eat in McDonald's. And the others, referring to the 5 left, right? The 5 that is left, might want to eat somewhere else, right? So we have 10 people, 5 people want to eat at KFC, and then the 5 left want to eat in other restaurants, like maybe McDonald's or what other restaurants are there? Other restaurants, right? So others, the remaining, okay, remaining. And then we have others with the S, okay, with the S. Mind you, this one doesn't have the word the, okay? So no article. That means several or more, okay? Apart from those already mentioned. The example they gave you was, people have different opinions when it comes to vegetarianism. Some people think it's healthy and unhealthy and unnatural to eat meat, while others believe. Alright? So this others here is different from the others, right? The others is more specific, right? Others here means the people who do not believe, okay? And then each other, right? Each other means one another, okay? One another. Each other means one another. And then we have every other. Every other means alternate, okay? Alright, for example, you can say I go to school every other day. Every other day, right? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? So if I go to school every other day, that means an alternate day. So for example, I go to Monday. This one, I don't go to school. Wednesday is the alternate, right? So it's an alternate. We have in between. So this is when I go to school again. So Monday, I go to school. Tuesday, I don't. Wednesday, I go to school. What about Thursday? Alternate, right? So Thursday, I don't go to school. And then on Friday, I do go to school. Okay, so every other day, you skip one. Okay, every other. Alright, and then we have the last part, I think, the last part. We have 3 parts more. The other day, so a few days ago. So for example, if someone said, I went to school yesterday, right? You can report that and said, they went to school the previous day or the other day, okay? That means a few days ago, alright? The other one, similar as the others, okay? But very specific. Another, right? Another means one more. Another means one more. Okay? But another can also be expressions of distance, money, and time. It'll cost another, right? So it means a little bit more, right? Not one more. So we can say another, right? Because we have a means one more, or another can also mean amount of something, distance, time, or money, and then more, right? An extra. You can say extra amount. Right? Another. It will cost you another $5 if you want to stay 10 more minutes, okay? Alright, so let's continue. Right? So let's continue with the exercise 1 to 5, alright? Okay, so let's try to do analyze number 1. They went skiing the other day. It was fun. Now, can you tell me why we used or they gave us the other day? Can you shout out your answers? Just 10 seconds. Any ideas? Right, okay, so it's important to mark down that we use the word day here, so very specific, right? Day. And the other day means a few days ago. If we look at just the other, right, on the very top point, it can also mean that kind of the other, the rest of the days, okay? So they went skiing the rest of the day that they were there, except for the whole week, right? So the other, the remaining, right? It was fun. Number 2, only 4 people turned up at the party. All blank guests had to go somewhere. Oh, okay. See? Only 4 people. Out of all the people they invited, only 4 went to the party. Everyone else, the remaining, aside from the 4. So again, the other, right? Remember the example I give you? The McDonald's, 5 people want to go, the other 5, right? Want to go somewhere else to eat. Alright, what about number 3? This shirt does not fit me. Can I try blank one on, please? Right? So you say, can I try one more? One more on, please? Or you have a choice, right? This one or the other one. Right? So it should be another. Can I try another one, please? Give me one more to try another. Alright, so what about number 4, right? In blank 4 years, Tom will have qualified as a doctor. So we're adding 4 years, right? Adding another amount of years. So that is another, right? Another. We're adding some more. So these two, they're both adding, right? But here, another means 1. Here in this another, right, it means adding a little bit more, okay? So you can use both, right? Specifically for time in this sentence. And then number 5, those magazines belong to Jim. Blank belong to me. Okay? So maybe there's 20 magazines, right? Those 10 magazines belong to me. The remaining 10 belong to Jim. Okay, so it should be 10 out of 5 out of 10 out of 20, and then 10 out of 20, right? So we're talking about the split there. So it's the other remaining ones belong to me. Oh, the others. Okay, so there's no ones. All right. How do we know when to put s? We look at the noun, right? So the other books. If there is the word books, right? So we say the other, but no noun here. So the others. The s will take place of the noun. Okay. All right, check your answers, please, so that you can do number 6 to 10 by yourself, okay? All right, so it's very similar to part 12, right? Else, except for these ones, right? 1 unit, right? And then also this one. Think of them as 1 unit too. Okay? All right, so let's move on forward. 176, all right, 176, okay? So on page 176, oops, wrong page. 176, we have part 14, okay? Part 14. We have one part only. Try to use the words in bold to make the sentence here, okay? Use the words in bold. Bold means the thick words, right? In black, and then write down your own sentence on the right-hand side. I don't think we have enough space, so let me erase this here. All right, and then we have in other words, okay? So in other words, on the top part, right, in how to say it in a different way. Tom, Steve, and Paul don't like tennis, all right? So there's 3 people that we mentioned, and all of them do not like tennis. So you can say none of them likes tennis, okay, or like tennis. And then the second point, Anne is a typist. Mary is a typist too. So we have 2 people, 2 of them are typists, and we want to say the 2 of them are typists, right? So both Anne and Mary are typists, or you can say both of them, all right? And then similarly, we have Sally, Sue, and Pam. We have 3 people we talked about. Sally, Sue, and Pam enjoy swimming. We can say all of them enjoy swimming, right? Just put them together, all of them. And then the other parts, right, is a negative part, so it's similar, just with the word no or not. All right? So now that we know how to say it in other words, let's try to do this part in part 14. The example given to us is no one knows the answer to my question. So anyone, right? Anyone is not a negative. No one is a negative. So we have to put something in front or at the back of the word to make it a negative, right? So it's there is not anyone who knows. So there isn't anyone who knows the answer to my question. All right, this is from the bullet point 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? All right, number 2, there isn't anything I can do, okay? There isn't anything I can do. The blank is, the question is, they're blank to do help. And then we need to use is. So there, of course, the is comes after, right? There is blank due to help. There is blank due to help. Isn't anything I can do. So is a positive, right? Now we have to put a negative. There is anything, make it into a negative, is nothing, okay? So we just change any to no. There is nothing I can do. Okay? Comes from anything I can do, nothing I can do, okay? Isn't anything, is nothing I can. All right? Number 3, Bob lives in Rome. John lives in Rome too. Okay? So this part 3, we can look at, in other words box, we can look at the second bullet point, right? Bullet point number 2. So what's the answer for that one? Both of them, okay? Both of them. And then what do you write? Live, right? Because they, so they live. No S, please. In Rome, all right? Easy. Okay, let's move on. Number 4, Pete, Robert, Bill, right? We have 3 people. Pete, Robert, and Bill cook delicious meal. So we have all, right? So all Again, same, right? All of them cook, right? Because they cook, right? Not they cooks. All of them cook. Delicious meal. Number 5. Mr. Green can't drive. Mr. Smith can't drive either. But we have to use the word can, so it's a positive, right? So neither Mr. Green, so we have neither, right? Neither means one and one, or one, right? So we have Mr. Green already, and then Mr. Green or Mr. Smith, right? We already have Mr. Green, we need to put Mr. Smith as well. Now the most important thing here is neither, so it's a negative, right? And in that negative structure we have to use neither nor, okay? We have to remember that neither nor Mr. Smith, and then can, right? But cannot comes from here. Cannot, right? Cannot. Neither Mr. Green nor Mr. Smith can drive. Alright? Number 6, the boys all dislike Brussels sprouts. So this is a kind of vegetable, right? We have to use a positive, right? Likes, right? The opposite of dislike. So none, right? None means no one, right? So similar as all of them or not all of them, right? So none of them. That means no one out of all of them, right? Like or likes. Right? In this case, why? Because we're talking about the number, all right? So we have this number of boys and all of them, right? Out of all the number of boys does not like. So it's likes Brussels sprout, okay? But you can also use just like without the s. So the s is optional, all right? So we're talking about statistics here, right? So you can put an s. All right, so for number 7 to 10, right, 4 questions. I want you to, again, do that at home, okay? Maybe after the lesson, so you can do like a 10-minute or 15-minute exercise, right? Very quick. Okay, last page, right? Very easy. Now we're going to the last page. We have pronouns, right? And I don't think I need to tell you what pronouns are because we did it in the last part. So you should know what pronouns are now, right? So I, you, they, we, he, she, it as personal pronouns, okay? And then we have the possessive adjectives like my, your, his, her, and then possessive pronouns, okay? The pronouns and the adjectives in the possessive differs how? Just in the words like mine and its, okay? So my will change to mine, okay? Its does not have a possessive pronoun. And then for everything else, you just put an s, okay? Yours, his, hers, ours, yours, theirs, okay? All right? And then the last box on the right-hand side, we have reflexive emphatic pronouns. That means it reflects itself, okay? So myself, herself, yourself, itself, etc., okay? All right, so please note down, okay? Note down that when we use it, instead of the possessive adjective, right? We usually use, how do we say it? We usually use the verbs, okay? The verbs instead. So the example they give us is she slapped the boy on the face, not on his face, okay? On the face. So not possessive, okay? Not his face, the face, okay? And then we have own, okay? We have own plus possessive adjective. So she's got her own car, right? But not she's got her car, right? Usually when she's got her car means she just took it, right? She just or bought it recently. When we say own car, that means she had it for a long time already, right? So she has her own car, trying to be specific from other people, okay? All right, so now let's try to answer part 15. We have to do, let's try to do all 10. Very easy, right? So the number 1 is we are really enjoying ourselves, okay? So ourselves, right? That's the example they give as well, ourselves. This reflects the first answer of we, okay? We are enjoying ourselves, okay? So this is the reflexive. And then on holiday in Clacton and found something different to do every day. Blank never guessed what happened to blank last night. So you're talking to someone, right? When you talk to someone, you are telling them something, and then you want them to kind of think for themselves, right? So you will not guess. You will not guess what happened to reflexive, right? Reflexive. Ourselves. But in this case, we need to use a personal pronoun that is after the verb. So object, right? Object pronoun. Sorry, it should be us, okay? What happened to us, okay? Or you can say me as well. If you're talking about just yourself, you can say me. But in this case, if it's reflexive to we, it's us, right? All right, number 5, right? Fred and I, right? Fred and I. Why I and not me? Because we're still using the first part of the subject, right? So subject, the first part. So Fred and I, right? If it's in the object, then we use Fred and me, all right? Okay, Fred and I went to see a comedy show. Stan Blair was the star attraction. Have blank heard of blank? Okay, so Stan Blair is a boy, right? So have blank ever heard of him, right? So he is in the object, so him. And then we're asking someone, right? You're asking this person in front of you. So you're asking them, you will say, have you ever heard of him, right? Have you? All right, have you ever heard of him? Okay. All right, let's move on. He is a young up-and-coming comedian who is just starting to make a name for blank. So we're talking about him, right? Him, and only him. He is making a name for who? For him as well, right? So it's a reflexive. So he's making a name for, what's a reflexive of him? You can check the box on top. Himself, right? Himself. Right? Reflexive. Okay, number 9, at the end of blank act. Whose act, right? His, right? It belongs to him. This act belongs to him. At the end of his act, he asked if anyone in the audience was celebrating blank birthday that night. Whose birthday again, right? So this is anyone, right? So anyone's birthday. So if it's in the if it's in the plural, right? It should be their birthday. We don't know if anyone actually has it, right? So their birthday. All right. So 11 to 20 again. Please try to base it from the answers here, and do it by yourself. All right. Okay. All right. So let's go and try to do the last part. Okay, the last part of this exercise. Okay. Number 16. Fill in the gaps with the or a possessive adjective. Number 1 has been given to us on the nose. Remember, not a possessive adjective. We're talking about parts of body, right? So she patted him lightly on blank shoulder. Part of body again. So it should be the shoulder, right? To get to get attention. His attention, right? Attention belongs to him. He hugged blank son and said, "I'm proud of you." Whose son? He hugged his son, right? Oops, sorry. He hugged his son. Number 3. Number 4, the little boy kissed blank sister on blank cheek. Whose sister is it? The little boy's, right? So the little boy is he. So it should be his sister on her cheek. Her cheek is wrong, so it should be on the cheek, right? Remember, body part. Number 5, the boxer punched his opponent on blank nose. Again, body part. On the nose, right? We don't use the possessive. On the nose. Alright, number 6, she stroked blank hair. Now, in this part, right, we're talking about hair as if it is a belonging of someone, right? So his hair. Okay? She stroked his hair and told him not to worry. Number 7, a brick nearly hit me on blank head. Body part. The head. Okay? Alright? So again, look here. Some body parts, right, like hair, we usually use it as a possession, right? So his hair, her hair, my hair, not the hair, okay? Alright? So please go home, right, after this class. Please do some revision and answer the questions by yourself. You can refer, very easy, refer to the tables that have been given to you, as well as the notes that I wrote and the answers that we've done together, okay? All right, so please go home and stay at home and do that, all right? And we will try to do quick revisions in the next class, right? And then please do some reading on page 178 just to get yourself started for next week, so I don't need to go through the whole explanation once more, all right? All right, thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you again next class. Remember, do your homework. Bye-bye.